I don't know if everyone knows our new band director, but how about a round of applause for Miss Carol Wallace? And our jazz cats. Don't be surprised if in a few years some of those students are being inducted into our Hall of Honor. It's the hardest working group on campus, our band this year. I'm so proud of them. My name is Steve Drummond. I'm principal at Commerce High School, and it is truly an honor for me to get to do this. I look out and see a lot of people that are on the walls already, and really enjoyed getting to come over a few minutes early today and visit with the honorees this year. And I know it makes Miss Smithers a little bit nervous, but I'll throw in a few quips and quotes that I got from these people on stage today, and I hope that's okay. Our first inductee is Chris Elliott. Success at Commerce High School was only the beginning of a lifetime of service and commitment for Elliott, a 1980 graduate. His leadership skills were fostered in Student Council, the National Honor Society, and the Key Club. He was voted class favorite and most likely to succeed during his senior year. He excelled in baseball and football, being named second team 15-2A all-district quarterback in 1979. And he told me he definitely would have been first team if his receivers would have been better. I'm just kidding. In fact, he said the complete opposite. He said his receivers were amazing. Elliott attended Austin College in Sherman, where he was awarded the Trustees Merit Scholarship and Hatton Sumner Scholarship in Political Science. He was a member of the Pi Gamma Mu Honorary Fraternity, president of Sigma Tau Epsilon Social Fraternity, and he played baseball. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree with a double major in Political Science and Economics. After working as a legislative aide for State Senator Ted B. Lyon, Elliott attended Baylor University School of Law, where he graduated with a Juris Doctorate degree. His career has centered in Austin, where he served as briefing attorney for Chief Justice Bob Shannon of the 3rd District Court of Appeals and general counsel for the Texas Senate Committee on Criminal Justice. He started the law firm of Ivy, Cruz, and Elliott, P.C. He is currently a shareholder in the Austin law firm of Graves, Daugherty, Heron, and Moody, P.C., a firm consisting of 68 lawyers, which handles cases involving probate litigation, personal injury litigation, and commercial and business litigation. He has received honors for ethics and legal ability and has served various leadership roles in legal associations. He has served on the boards of Austin Habitat for Humanity and the Capital Area AIDS Legal Project. He is a former chair of the Travis County Democratic Party and a member of the advisory committee of the Mexican Art Museum in Austin. His ties to commerce led him to become supportive of the Commerce School Educational Enrichment Foundation in various ways. Elliott is a son of the late Penny Elliott and Charles and Paula Elliott of Commerce. He and his wife, Tish Hinojosa Elliott, have 2 children, Lily and Boone. I am proud to introduce Chris Elliott and recognize his induction into the CISD Hall of Honor. Chris Elliott.
Principal Drummond. As somebody famously once said, I think I've been over-introduced. I make my living speaking in front of people. I'm a lawyer, I'm a litigator, but I'm more nervous in front of this group of folks than I am when I'm standing up in court. There's something about coming back to your hometown and being in front of all of these people that I grew up respecting and looking up to, and receiving an honor such as this that makes you very humble and also makes me real damn nervous right now. And I'm not sure why, but this is truly a fun and great honor for me. I look around and I see former classmates here of mine, my family's over here, my kids, my parents, my brother, and all of these. I see former teachers here that had a huge influence on my life. Mr. John, my freshman year in high school, I was on his chapter conducting team, and we won first place in district, and I learned skills in chapter conducting that I still utilize today. And Mr. John, I thank you for that. Coach Alderman may not remember, I hope he doesn't remember all the times that he kind of had to keep me on the straight and narrow in high school. One of my favorite memories of Coach Alderman, we moved here when I started 6th grade, and Coach Alderman was still at middle school at that time. And we were in the gym practicing basketball, and I took some kind of crazy shot, and he got frustrated and flustered and finally blurted out, "That's a doo-doo shot." And I'll always remember, I know you wanted to say something else, but diplomatic about it, but I've never forgotten that. But then when you went to the high school and I got to high school, I remember many gentle nudges from you when I may have been tempted to stray and maybe get off the straight and narrow path, and I'll always thank you for that. And Mrs. Peak, and I'm sorry I'll never be able to call you Janet. You'll always be Mrs. Peak to me, who I adored and adored then and still adore. And your English class, I still have a notebook of the poetry exercises that we did, and I'll have to say mine were pretty darn good. If the law thing doesn't work out, I may go back to it. But it's fun to be here, and I see Billy Relford back there. Billy and I grew up together from 6th grade on, and in junior high, Billy used to fuss at me about taking shots on the basketball team and not feeding the ball inside to him. As it turns out, he was absolutely right. I should have feeding the ball to him, because Billy turned out to be a heck of a basketball player. And two of my classmates sitting here in front of me, Carolyn Campion and Janet Brock, came over from, that's the maiden names, came over from Dallas to be here, and they're on Facebook, so they know about all this stuff. I'm not. It's fun to see them, and by the way, I'm going to go over 5 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that I'm a lawyer, and it's not the first time I've been accused of talking too much. But one of the things that occurred to me as I was sitting here and looking at the other folks on the dais here that are being honored is that they all embody things that or concepts that make commerce special to me. Wyman Williams, I know my father bought a number of vehicles from me over the years, and he never complained about the price. And for my father not to complain about the price of the vehicle says oodles about what kind of businessman you were. Which, I mean that as the highest compliment. Scott Williams, I had the great opportunity to meet him right before this started, and what a great career he's had, and has gone off to Washington, D.C. and Brooklyn. But when I see Wyman and Scott, I can't help but think about Lenny Actual, and what a wonderful, wonderful person Lenny actually was. She was the librarian when I was in school, and also the student council sponsor. She and Pat Pope were the student council sponsors, and I was on student council, and they were both, and especially Mrs. Ashley was another one of those who was always there to nudge me back when I might think about straying from the straight and narrow, and she was such a warm person that would always take time to talk to me and always help make the bad times seem a little better. I really, really loved her. and Harry Turner. I had the opportunity to meet you for the first time today, and what a story you have. And you went to Commerce at a very different time. Went to school here at a very different time. The schools had not been integrated, and it reminded me of when I first moved here. We moved here in 1973, and the schools had not been integrated that long when we moved here in 1973. And we moved from San Angelo, Texas, and I went to a school there that was not integrated. And we moved to Commerce, and I will be honest, there was still some racial tension in the junior high and the high school. And when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody, didn't have any friends, and was kind of, it was a little lonely the first few days of school. And pretty soon, I see Billy smiling. He probably knows where I'm going with this story. Before long, one of my African-American classmates sidled up to me and started talking to me and made friends with me. His name is Sean Harrison. And one day on the playground, Sean, who was widely known as the fastest runner at that time in our class, challenged me to a race. And I thought I was pretty fast, so I accepted the challenge. And we raced across the parking lot there in the old junior high, the old middle school, and I beat him. And from that point on, I was a popular kid. I was now the fastest kid in class. And years later, though, Sean told me that he let me win that. And I think that's absolutely true, because Sean knew that if he let me win that race, that I would be accepted by all of the other kids in school, and he did that. And so I didn't know anything about racial tension. All I knew is I had a friend, and he helped me. And Sean Harrison, I haven't seen him in years, but he's still a friend today. So those are some of the things. Commerce is a special place, and it has a special place in my heart. And being honored and being told by your hometown that they're proud of you is one of the best honors I think that one can have, and it's certainly one of the proudest moments of my life. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Mr. Harry Turner. An athlete and scholar, Harry Turner was captain of the Class 1A state basketball championship team and class valedictorian when he graduated from North School in 1964. And I'm an old basketball coach, so it really drew me to this gentleman. So I asked him, "Were you pretty good?" He said, "No, I was good." He said, "In fact, when I shot a jumper, if it didn't go in, somebody better check the ball." Like all great players, he obviously had some confidence. He was awarded 13 scholarships to advance his education at Cisco Junior College and then East Texas State University. When Turner was a youngster, the centerpiece of the community was North School and the local churches. The school, which had been built in 1952, comprised grades K through 12 and employed many community leaders, including Harry's father, Warren Turner, and key administrators such as Harry Champion, Turner's uncle, and A.C. Williams, who one of our elementary campuses is now named after. The 1950s were turbulent times for African Americans as segregation was the norm. It was through strong family ties and a supportive community that Harry began to understand life and thrive, according to his son, Dominique. By the mid-1980s, Turner was called on by university students to share his experience as an African American in the 1960s. He became a local spokesperson about the African American experience in commerce, sharing stories about when African Americans did not have equal rights. Turner worked at Raytheon, which became L3 in Greenville for 22 years. He is currently a deacon and Sunday school superintendent at Mount Moriah Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Commerce, where he has served since 1973. Although he is long retired from L3, he still does odd jobs for area churches and serves as a community leader and spokesperson when called. Turner met Mary Hill while attending North School, and they're celebrating their 52nd wedding anniversary this year. They have 4 grown children, including Christopher, Dominique, Corey, and Tara Camille. Please join me in welcoming our newest Hall of Honor inductee, Mr. Harry Turner.
This is something really good. When a couple of days ago, when I got the letter from Mr. Alderman in the mail, I sat down, opened the letter, and read it. And I told my wife, they got the wrong Harry Turner. I got to send this back because it ain't me. But I am so pleased, so honored to be inducted into the Commerce Independent School District Hall of Honor. In my life, I have received many awards and recognition and many certificates, but truly this is outstanding for me. I truly appreciate this. I want to thank the nominating committee and Mr. Alderman for all the help and all the support that all the Commerce have given me. I'm always surprised how, even in, whether it's a large city or a small town, how the things you do and the work you do does not go unnoticed by your peers. So I truly appreciate this recognition, all you coming out, my family and friends from my church, everyone that I know and love. I'm gonna cry so when I sit down. And I have my picture on the wall from now on, so thank you.
Our next inductee is Mr. Scott Williams. Known as Andrew in Washington, D.C. and New York City, Commerce's own Scott Williams joins his mother Harriet and father Wyman as Hall of Honor recipients. Williams was involved in debate, theater, and future business leaders of America at Commerce High School. His future was forecast the night he spoke at a Commerce Independent School District school board meeting following an attempt by a parent to remove books from the library. His talents to inform and persuade have served him well in the corporate and political arenas. And when I spoke to Mr. Williams, he shared with me that he was in high school with Mr. Alderman. Whenever he and all his buddies got together, they all talked about how amazing it was that Mr. Alderman was the superintendent. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I might have embellished that just a little. After graduating from Commerce High School in 1991, Williams earned a bachelor's degree in political science at the University of the South in Sewanee, Tennessee. He then spent 2 years teaching English in a Japanese middle school and another year as traveling accountant on an 18-city tour of Japan with Toy Story on ice. That's pretty cool. In 1998, he began learning the ropes in Washington, D.C., working as an assistant to an economics reporter in the Washington Bureau of Japan's latest daily newspaper, Yomiuri Shimbun. And he told me Shimbun actually means newspaper in Tokyo, and that they printed that newspaper twice a day. After 2 years as a reporter, Williams joined the Federal Reserve Board in Washington in September 2001 as an entry-level public relations employee. This marked the beginning of his career as a crisis communications specialist in both Washington, D.C. and New York City. Working with government institutions and some of the largest U.S. corporations, continually searching for a way to best explain to the public what these institutions were doing. Williams had a ringside seat to the financial crisis that started in 2007 while working at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and then at the U.S. Treasury Department in Washington, during the first 2 years of the Obama administration, serving as Deputy Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs. Following his government service, he worked for General Electric as Director of Media Relations and moved to Goldman Sachs as Vice President for Media Relations in August 2012. He is currently Managing Director of Corporate Communications, Goldman Sachs, Greater New York City area. Scott and his wife Tricia live in Brooklyn, New York, and have 2 daughters, Lula and Nomi. His sister Meredith, his parents, and all of his aunts and uncles attended Commerce High School. His grandmother, Lenny Atchley, was a librarian at Commerce High School for many years. Please welcome Scott Andrew Williams as an inductee into the CISD Hall of Honor.
I know you kind of stole my Charlie joke, but that's okay. Because we're too young to be doing this, aren't we? But thanks to everyone who's here tonight. Thanks to the honorees, Mr. Elliott, Mr. Turner. I had to tell Mr. Turner it was probably 2 or 3 years ago that I first saw you on YouTube on a documentary somebody had done about the Norris community, and you serve as the narrator. And if you haven't seen that, I think it's well worth everybody watching. Anyway, I also have to thank so many people in this room. Some of my former teachers in here. Billy Garrett, my first grade teacher right there. Janet John, my 5th grade teacher right there. Jennifer Garrett, my math teacher, and what grade was that in?
6th, 7th that day.
6th, 7th. I knew it all blurred. And don't let me forget anybody else about another teacher. Lou Ann Clark, you're more than a teacher. My 2nd grade teacher. Anyway, I've been thinking about this a lot. Aggressive Mike. And I thought of a story that sort of encapsulated what Commerce and Commerce ISD has done for me. And I'm sure some of you must have had to go to every one of these things, but I imagine in 1989 or so, I'd gotten a role in a high school play. It was the Lilies of the Field, which was a play which a 1962-63 great Oscar-winning Sidney Poitier movie about Sidney Poitier played a carpenter who's wandering across New Mexico or Arizona, and he runs into this bunch of nuns, and they're trying to build this fence, and they don't know what they're doing, obviously, and they strike up this unlikely friendship to build this chapel in the middle of the desert. So when I got to high school, I was really excited to be part of the plays that they did, and I landed a role in that, and my role was the narrator. So I was a priest, and I had the first, because unlike a movie, a play, you gotta kind of set up what the heck is going on here. So my role was the first person out to talk about, here we are, here's what we're doing. And so we practiced and we practiced and practiced. And the night we did it for the public, for the adult, for our parents and everything, it was the Commerce High School full auditorium. And, it's showtime, we're backstage. And it's go time. And I can't remember what the first word is I'm supposed to say. And I could see the spotlight. I was right on the edge of the stage, and the spotlight's ready for me. And then the spotlight starts to go to the other side, and the other side, and the other side. And I'm just like, my heart is exploding, and I'm sweating, shaking. And I run back to the side where I did have a script hidden. And all I needed was that first line. And I could still, you kind of hear the crowd starting to wonder what was going on. And then I popped out, said my lines, got off. And to me, what that was an opportunity to mess up, an opportunity to fail, and to have a supportive community that would allow me the opportunity to live through that moment and not think that was the end of everything. I feel like I also had that all throughout school, and I was even I played Santa Claus in a great production in 4th or 5th grade, 3rd grade, right on the stage, because I had a deeper voice than anybody else in 3rd grade. But for me, I know the description of me, it might be hard to understand what it is that people pay me to do, but what they pay me to do is help others communicate to the public what it is they do, and or go on TV or do these kinds of things. And so communication, for me, looking back on all this, the ability to get in front of groups of people, whether it was at my church, where it was reading Bible verses in front of a lot of people, whether it was at the university, being part of this community was huge for me. I was in a great production of Man of La Mancha. You may have missed it. I was one of the 14 prisoners in the chorus. It was in the summer. It was great. And, you know, one thing that my father did for me that helped propel me in this direction is that I think, and you'll know that this is something he's gotten over, but earlier in his life, he was very, very scared of speaking in public. And it was something that he knew was holding him back. And he made sure, as a father, to me, to talk to me about, we're not gonna let this happen to you. We're not gonna put you in this position. And so there's so many opportunities here in this community, and to get up in front of people, but also it's a community, and he never said this, but looking back, I think about it, that is so tight-knit, so caring, that you do have the opportunity to fail, and the opportunity to pick yourself up and support from others. So it's really made a huge difference to me in my life, and it's enabled me, much to my mom's disappointment in some ways, to just, when I graduated from high school, I was confident enough to just walk away and just keep walking and walking and walking. And now I'm back for a little bit. And I'm here with my daughter, Lula, who I hope, we live in a very big city of Brooklyn, but we've created a very tight-knit community. She's got a great school, and I hope that she can learn those same kind of things by visiting Commerce and just feeling that spirit that has really helped me in my life. So I hope we can all think about that and giving people opportunities to try something that they might not do perfectly, and then supporting them when they fall, if they fall. So thanks so much. This means a ton to me and to my family, and I look forward to getting to chat with you if we haven't already. Thank you.
They got it? All right.
Our last inductee for 2018 is Mr. Wyman Williams. Businessman, scholar, philanthropist, mentor, mayor. These are just some of the titles worn by Hall of Honor inductee Wyman Williams. After graduating from Commerce High School in 1965, Williams chose to remain in Commerce, marry his high school sweetheart, Harriet Ashley, and raise his family here. He told me that his senior year at Commerce High School, they had the privilege of playing Plano High School in the last year that there was only one high school in Plano. He said he was a deep safety, still remembers how exhausted he was when they were able to hold them to only 56 points. In 1969, Williams earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial Technology and Business from East Texas State University. He was owner and operator of Williams Motors and Commerce for 40 years. He sold the dealership in 2010 and joined the staff of Texas A&M University Commerce, where he is now Associate Vice President of Institutional Advancement. Williams has been active in civic and university activities for many years, being instrumental in helping establish the Northeast Texas Children's Museum, Commerce Leadership Institute, and the Commerce Schools Educational Enrichment Foundation. He has served on the Texas A&M University Commerce Foundation Board, the Heritage Society, and the Chancellor's Council Century Club of the Texas A&M University System. He chaired 3 successful bond election committees, which resulted in the construction of Commerce High School, Commerce Elementary School, and A.C. Williams Elementary. Williams received Texas A&M University Commerce Gold Blazer Award in 1989 and the Spirit of Mayo Award in 2005. He was chosen Citizen of the Year in Commerce for the years 1989 and 2008. In his nomination, a former colleague and friend said, "Wyman has spent much of his life in making his community, its schools, university, and Hunt County a better place to live, work, and raise a family. With a strong commitment, he has supported these efforts with an investment of volunteer time, physical effort, and considerable financial support. It is my opinion that his strong leadership skills and ability to develop trustworthy communication skills have made this possible." Williams lives in Commerce with his wife, Harriet. They have 2 grown children, Meredith Williams of Dallas and Scott Williams of New York. Wyman, because of your commitment to the growth and success of Commerce, we are happy to honor you as an inductee into the CISD Hall of Honor, Mr. Wyman Williams.
This is a whole lot more fun than I thought it'd be. Something about old men, when they're not sleepy, they're often weepy, and I'm weepy at the moment, so we'll get through this. Looking at the wall over here, I've had the privilege of being at each one of these, and at that second year, notice there's an extra number of folks there, and I was, toward the end of it, I was wishing, gosh, I wish they'd just get up and say thank you and sit down. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, a lot of thank yous. First of all, I thank this anonymous committee that brought this together to recognize me, but also recognize our son at the same time, because he brought our older granddaughter. And that's just, living in Brooklyn, you don't get a chance to see football games on Friday night. So this is going to be her first tonight, and her first pep rally. So we're kind of excited about that. A thank you to my wife. You heard that long list of things that I've tried to get others to help me and bring about some change. And for 49 years, she's put up with that, and I appreciate it very much. Believe it or not, I have a former teacher here. And goodness, even though you probably think we're the same age, this person was my high school football coach and geometry teacher. Jack Perkey, raise your hand. Goodness, having the opportunity to come to Commerce as a youngster and still be here. That was 1950, I was 3 years old. Graduated Commerce ISD and then East Texas State. Opposite our son, I've never lived anywhere else that I remember. And I don't regret that. I've enjoyed that. Living in a town whose economy is based on education is hard to describe to someone who's never done that. And to be a product of the schools in this town and then have a chance to bring 2 children up through that has been an honor. And I hope all of us can tell that story to more and more people. What a great place to raise a family, Commerce, Texas. Being the mayor is another weird thing. I never dreamed I'd do such a thing, but goodness, at this time in my life, it is a pleasure. We have a lot of things planned. There's a lot of things we're trying to get to work with the university, the ISD, and the city, coordinating those plans. So I look forward to that. I'll close with a little story about Meredith. Being involved as much as I have been in outside activities when Meredith was not too much older than Lula. She was upset with me because I was unable to attend an event she was going to be a part of. And she was not happy. Told her I had to work. But Dad, you don't work, you just talk to people. Thank you.
My name's Charlie Alderman. I'm superintendent of schools here. I actually grew up in Commerce. This is always a very unique day for me, getting to hear all these different stories, getting to recognize so many people that have both had an impact on my life and then done such amazing things, not only for our community, but for a greater part of the world. It's always a great honor to be able to be here and recognize all these individuals. There are a couple of thank yous that I need to do first. Ms. Smithers, I think she just walked out. If y'all see her, thank her, because she's the one that puts this whole thing together. So make sure you thank her if you see her. The second person I want to thank is the one that started this whole program. He's actually my predecessor, Mr. Blake Cooper, sitting in the back. He started the Commerce ISD Hall. Another group of people that spends a lot of time and effort supporting our schools, our community, and our kids. Would all the members of the Commerce ISD School Board please stand up? These people dedicate their time and effort to our kids, and we thank them. Last group I sort of want to recognize. Will everybody that's been a Hall of Honor inductee here in Commerce please stand up? Well, I know we have a lot of you here. These people have made an impact in our community. Getting to spend some time with all these different individuals, you can see what can make Commerce such a special place and why we get the chance to make a difference in such an incredible community and bring so many different people together. Last thing I want to say before we do the school song, if you get a chance to, spend a little bit of time with these people. They'll change your lives. As you can tell, they've changed mine and they've changed a lot of people in this community. All right, if you would, please stand. We're going to do the Commerce Fight Song.